What I find exciting about our research is that the idea of plastic recycling is a big problem. And the more we put pressure on systems to recycle more, it's not really tackling the problem at the heart of it, which is the fact that you can only recycle polymers and plastics a finite number of times. What we're showing is that this is a mechanism by which you can recycle plastics infinitely, and that technology just doesn't exist. And whilst we can't take our discovery into the real world to make this happen today or tomorrow, we're laying the baseline for which this can be done. We're showing chemical viability. This is a system that can work. And what we really hope is that people will take this further. And I find that really exciting. My research is about plastics and polymers. We are trying to make plastics that can be recycled by chemical recycling. So rather than melting down plastic materials and reforming them, which can only be done a certain number of times, we're making plastics and polymers that can be unmade and then remade again. And this way we can make materials that can be infinitely recycled. So in principle, you can make a particular object, you can unmake it, and then remake the material from the same base materials that you've recovered from the recycling.
So our research is exciting for a number of reasons, but what I find really invigorating is the fact that we're addressing a problem that hasn't been addressed before in this space, and that is the removal of additives, specifically colorants, from plastics production. And what we've been able to do has never been done before, so I think that's a very exciting prospect. So the process that we use to do our polymerizations is to trial things on a small scale initially. So we do these in small 7 ml vials to try and get about 1 gram of polymer. And this allows us to understand the properties of these polymers and plastics so that we can decipher and decide which to carry forward for scale-ups in future reactions. And this is really essential to help us understand material properties which are accessed by this large-scale production.
Current recycling technologies rely on melting down plastic materials and reforming them into pellets, which can then be sold and remolded into new materials. This is a particular problem for coloured plastics because the colour or the pigment that's in the plastics ends up in the recycled product. And this has a detrimental effect. It can have a detrimental effect sometimes on the physical properties, but at least even if the properties are actually acceptable, there's a problem with the coloration, which causes downcycling. You can often see recycled plastic bottles have a sort of brown coloration to them, which is a residue of the pigment from the plastic it was made from. And so that causes a problem, and eventually that plastic material must be thrown away or incinerated. It goes to the landfill or wherever it goes. So that recycling is what we call a recycling economy, which means that we recycle but only a finite number of times. It's not infinite. What we've managed to do is make coloured plastics, and for these materials, which are epoxide and hydride polymers, people have tried before to unmake the materials and with varying success, but never before has anyone unmade these polymers, which have got the colour in them, and remade material from it that is white. And that's exactly what we've done. So we've taken this yellow one, we unmade it, we isolated the monomers from it, and then purified it to make a polymer that is white like this one. And so the first time that has ever been achieved.